right, you guys. So we're starting out with Unit 2, and Unit 2 is all about solving equations, okay? So we're going to start today with 1- and 2-step equations. So one thing I want you to think about every single time you get ready to do equations is that we have one job, and that is to get the variable or isolate the variable, so get it by itself, okay? So we need to get the variable all by itself on one side, okay? And in order to do this, you're always doing the opposite or the inverse operation, okay? So I'm going to put here opposite, just so we remember that part too, okay? So remember, if it's addition, we're going to subtract, or subtraction, we're going to add. And if it's multiply, we're going to divide, or divide, we're going to multiply, okay? So let's start off easy with our little one-step equations, okay? So we have over here y plus 3 equals 10. We need to do the opposite. And if this is adding 3, then we need to subtract 3 from both sides. Until we get a lot better at these, I want everybody to be showing their work every time for every step, okay? Now, one thing I do want you to do and remember to do every time, especially on a test, is to be checking your answer. So these one-step ones are pretty simple, but you always want to make sure that you take the number that you got and plug it back in the equation for the variable, and then plug it in and see if you get the answer. So if I plug in 7 for y, I'm going to have 7 plus 3, and it's supposed to equal 10, and it does. Okay, so always checking to make sure that you got it correct. All right, let's go to the next one. T minus 9 equals 11. So if I'm subtracting 9, I need to add 9 to solve. These cancel out, and we are left with t equals 20. Okay, again, if I plug 20 back in here and subtract 9 and hit equals, I get 11, and that means we're correct. Okay, so there's add and subtract. The next one is multiply. So if it is multiplying by having these two next to each other, right, the opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8. The 8's cancel out, and I'm left with x equals 7. Okay, once again, if I plug 7 into here, 8 times 7 equals 56. So that is correct. All right. Now, moving on to a fraction. If I want to get rid of the fraction, I have two choices. I can divide, or I can multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so if we're doing it without a calculator, we want to do multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, both sides. All right, these cancel because they're 1 and 1. So I'm left with t equals, this is like 6 over 1. If we have that, we've got 30 over 3. And 30 over 3 simplifies to 10. Okay. So same thing here, only now we have like 1 on top, so it just becomes a over 5. This is division. So again, opposite means I need to multiply. So if they're dividing by 5, I multiply by 5. These are gone, and I have a equals 60. Okay. Again, if I plug 60 in here, 60 divided by 5 and hit equals, and you get 12. Okay, hopefully this is coming back to you. You've done these a lot, okay? So these are going to be our two-step equations, okay? The main thing for two-step equations is to remember that the number without the variable goes first. It's called the constant. Okay, so we're going to put up here, move the constant first. Okay, not the variable. All right, so 3x plus 7 equals 19 means we need to subtract 7 from both sides. Okay, we have 3x equals 12. Last step, divide both sides by 3, and x equals 4. Okay, again, plug it in, and you get 3 times 4 plus 7 to check your answer. All right, part B is a little bit different because it has 32 that comes first instead of the m. So we need to get rid of 32, but it's a positive 32 since there's nothing out here to tell us that it's negative. So we have to subtract 32 from both sides. Okay, I'm left with negative m. So both of those drop. Negative m equals 17 minus 32 would give me negative 15. And then this is like a negative 1 here, remember. So divide by negative 1 on both sides. These are gone, and m equals positive 15. Okay. All right. Down here for letter C, we've been doing this for a couple weeks now. So distributive property is when it's on the outside. It goes to both. We have 2n plus 10 equals negative 2. Subtract 10 from both sides because we take the number without the variable first, the constant. This is negative 12. Last step, divide by 2. And we have n equals negative 6. Okay. On D, we flipped it around again and made the answer come first. So if you don't like that, you could always flip it over here and put equals negative 15 and get rid of this part if you needed to. Doesn't matter. Either way, you're still going to do the same thing. Okay? So you do what you like. No problem there. So we're going to do negative 15 is our answer. So that means we have to move something from this side. And we can't move the variable, so it has to be the constant. So this gives me negative 20 equals negative 4m. And I divide by negative 4, and we get positive 5 equals m. Okay. All right, a few more here. This one's a different kind of two-step. The two-step part is actually combining like terms. So 4a plus 5a gives me 9a equals 63. If I divide by 9 on both sides, a equals 7. Now for this one to check, you'd have to plug in 7 to here and here, multiply, and then add them together. Okay, so let's move on to the same thing over here. We have 9x minus 3x, which is negative 12x, equals 60. If I divide both sides by negative 12, I get that x equals negative 5. Same thing, has to go here and here. Okay. F has a fraction or division and a constant here. So a little bit of the same, but we have to still get rid of this number out here first. If it's a positive, I'm going to subtract it. So I have b over negative 4 equals negative 3. When I'm dividing by negative 4, that means I have to multiply to get rid of it. So these cancel, and I have b equals positive 12. Okay. Last one like this. In this case, still have to get rid of the number that's not with the variable. So that means this guy down here has to go first. So we're going to multiply because it's being divided. These cancel. I've got v plus 9 equals 24. And then I just have to subtract 9. So these are gone, and v equals 15. Okay. Try these 3 on your own. Pause the screen, do them, and then come back and see the answers. All right. Okay, so hopefully you're back after trying. I'm just going to go through this pretty quick. Subtract 7, 3x equals 21, divide by 3, and x equals 7. Okay, this is division here with 4, so I'm going to multiply both sides to do the opposite. These are gone, and x equals 32. Last one, add 6 to both sides. Negative 6x equals 66. Divide by negative 6, and x equals negative 11. Good job, you guys.